Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I am trying to predict the Booker Prize shortlist. So I have finally finished 12 books out of the 13 on the Booker Prize longlist. There's one book I wasn't able to get my hands on. It's not actually out yet, and also it's a very long book, so I've given that up as something I won't be able to read and rank in time for the shortlist to come out. But I've read all the other 12 books on the long list. It has been quite the journey. I've done 3 different vlogs as part of this journey, so you can go along and see my reactions as I was reading them, which was so much fun to do. Although I think I started off really strong with those vlogs in terms of my enjoyment of the books, and maybe it didn't continue the whole way, but they're still fun to watch, and I hope you've enjoyed watching my journey. So that does mean I have 12 books that I've read, and the shortlist is coming out on the 23rd of September, and I'm actually going to be on a flight at the time. I normally like doing reactions to these kind of things. I like doing live reactions so I can react with you. It's absolutely not possible for me to do it this time because I'm going to be on a plane on my way to Japan, which I'm so excited about. Stay tuned for a Japan vlog very soon. But I do have time to put together my list of my personal shortlist, the shortlist I would love to see, and then also something slightly different, which is my predictions of what I think is going to be on there. And I will also give you my full ranking of the entire 12 books as well. So I think we'll start off and I'll give you my entire ranking. And I'm going to start from best to worst. So this is going to be no surprise to those of you who have been watching the vlogs, but my number one pick out of everything that I read for the Booker long list is Entling. This is actually very closely tied to my number 2 pick, but I just have to give this one its spotlight because I absolutely loved reading it. This book made me feel so many different things. It is funny, it's exciting, it's tense. It's also just a very interesting way to write a book. Narratively, structurally, I was constantly surprised. I was touched. It's very emotional, and I just absolutely love the experience of reading this one. So it has to be my number 1 spot for my personal ranking. This is a story about a woman who is trying to save the lives of these different snail species, and it's set in modern day Ukraine, and basically she goes around in her trailer that has been kitted out to be a laboratory and tries to save these snails, but she very quickly keeps running out of money, and so just for a bit of money on the side she joins up with these romance tours, which are basically pitched for Western men to come over to Ukraine and find their perfect Ukrainian wife. She's not very engaged in these romance tours, she obviously just does it for money, but as part of them she does meet these 2 sisters who have also got their own reasons for being involved in these romance tours. I absolutely loved this book from the beginning to the end. I don't think it's going to be for everyone because it does have a very significant shift in the middle, narratively speaking and structurally speaking, and I personally loved it and was just so surprised, and it really added a whole new layer to how I was thinking about this book as a story and as a novel, and also just thinking about this writer and the story that they have chosen to write at this time. I absolutely loved it. It's also got an absolutely stunning cover with a gorgeous little snail cloud that I really love. And yeah, this one's just an absolute standout for me from the list, and it's taking my top spot. Next up, we have a book that I have read before the Booker Prize long list was announced, and I really hoped that it was going to be on the list, and it was, and that is Universality. This is the proof copy that I read, and I absolutely loved it, and I'm not surprised because I also love this author's other book, Assembly, as well. I just think Natasha Brown has some kind of superhuman insight into our society as it stands. This, to me, does feel like a very UK-focused book. A lot of the politics and discussions that are going on in this book feel so current and so now for things that we are talking about in the UK. But also, it does have these universal truths, this universality to me. So this is an interesting book structurally as well. In the beginning of this, you're basically reading the equivalent of a Guardian long read. It's a long article about this incident where a young man gets hit over the head with a gold bar at an illegal rave. And then in the second half of the book, you are following the different characters who were mentioned within the article themselves. This book really talks about truth and words and how we tell our stories and the power dynamics involved in truth telling. It's a commentary on journalistic integrity, and what I love about this author is how she uses language to talk about language, and it's a slim little little book and there is so much packed in here. I absolutely loved it and I would definitely reread this one. And yeah, this one is taking my number 2 spot, but honestly also it's kind of interchangeable with number 1. Next up for my number 3 spot is Audition by Katie Kitamura. This one was a surprising one for me, but I did think I would like it going in because it was described as a very strange read that makes you feel very confused, and usually I do like books like that. This, again, I've just realised a lot of the structure of the first 3 books on my list are kind of similar in a way, because in this book you are following an older actress, a woman, as she goes to lunch with a much younger man, and you are kind of guessing at the purpose of this lunch and the dynamic between them. And then the second half of the book takes another tonal shift and you're trying to figure out kind of what's going on, what's the truth, was the first part of the story the truth, was the second part, or what kind of has changed within their dynamic. And the thing I took from this is that the author is exploring and playing with the idea that the way that we live is our truth and we are all basically actors on the stage of life. I found this one so interesting, incredibly readable as well. I listened to the audiobook of this one and I would definitely recommend it. And just a very fun and exciting read that really got me thinking as I was reading it. Next up for spot number 4, we have another kind of surprising one, I think, and it is Sea Scraper by Benjamin Wood. This one is another skinny little book and you are following a young man as he works as basically a shrimp scraper. He draws his carriage and horse along the beach scraping up shrimp, and he basically makes just enough to survive for him and his mother as well. He does a very hard and grueling job, but secretly he has ambitions to become a singer and a musician, and you're following his life when a very exciting American filmmaker comes to town and wants to be shown the beach where he works every day and what this does to kind of stir up his life. This one had such a strong atmosphere and I really liked it. It definitely had a very slow start, but at points there was real high drama that I felt really engaged and I really enjoyed it. My only thing with this one is that I felt like the ending was perhaps a little bit too abrupt or maybe a little bit too neat in a way for me, but I really enjoyed this main male character in this and the way that his loneliness and his ambition was explored, and that I have to say is okay. Sorry, my doorbell went, but what I was saying is I actually really appreciated the way that this main male character came across, because that is unfortunately not the case for a few other books on this list as we go further down my ranking. But this one did just scrape spot number 4 on my list. For spot number 5, we have The Land in Winter. This one was a real slow this one really grew on me as I was reading it. I was beginning it and I think I was feeling a little bit burnt out from reading so many of the Longlist, and I didn't give it enough of a chance at the beginning, and it really grew on me and I ended up really enjoying this one. This book is about 2 different couples who live next door to each other in the 60s, and it takes place over a really cold winter, like the coldest winter on record. And both of the wives that live next door to each other come from very different backgrounds, but they're both currently pregnant. This book is set as people are kind of still thinking a lot about the Second World War, especially as they're facing this big winter freeze. And you're also directly comparing and contrasting these 2 marriages and the relationship between the 2 women as it grows and evolves. I just really ended up enjoying the kind of like everyday human nature that was really explored in the day-to-day lives of these 2 couples. And the writing itself also really was very beautiful, and it had like these very surprising turns of phrase that kept kind of taking me a little bit by surprise. But I ended up highly enjoying this one, although perhaps a little too slow and a little too atmospheric for my liking. But next up, we're at the halfway point on my list of 12 books, and spot number 6 goes to Flashlight. This one I finished and I did really enjoy it. But then as more time has gone on, I think that I've enjoyed it less and less. And you're basically following this family, a husband, wife, and their daughter. And when the daughter is 10 years old, she goes walking on the beach at night with her dad, and her dad goes missing. And she can't remember what happened. This book is set also in the US, in Japan, and in Korea. And it's really talking about identity and these 3 different places and how the evolving geopolitics throughout the decades of this novel affect the identities of the different people in this family. This one is very slow, and some of the descriptions I think are overly descriptive. There are long passages of pure description, and sometimes it does grind the pacing completely to a halt. I also really liked, at different aspects, following this quite complicated family, but to me a lot of the time it felt like they were very disconnected characters, and I wasn't getting the family portrait that I was kind of expecting within this book. They felt like very separate from one another and dealing with different things constantly, and I'm not sure that just the ending pulled everything together how I wanted it to be pulled together after spending so much time reading it, so much time with these characters. So this one just hits at position number 6 on the list. Next up, at number 7, we have Misinterpretation. This one was a whole lot of promise for me that unfortunately did not deliver. This book is hard to describe what it's actually about because I don't think the blurb is very accurate. It says that it's about this Albanian translator, which it is, and she lives in New York. And the book kicks off when she is translating for a man who has suffered at the hands of torture, and he asks her to start translating for him during therapy sessions. Her husband warns her against translating for him and getting further involved in his life because, as we learn throughout the book, our main character kind of has a habit of getting very involved in other people's lives, and she's a very generous and kind person. But I wouldn't say that she's a very nice person. She's a very interesting character, but a lot of her decisions in this book I couldn't actually understand, and unfortunately the way that it didn't work for me is that there were so many different aspects, different plot threads that were being laid down that were interesting, and then a lot of them just didn't end up going anywhere, and I just didn't understand what the point was that the author was trying to tell me about this main character who, on the one hand, was incredibly active and wanting to help everybody around her, but on the other hand, incredibly passive and very unreflective as a person. It explores her marriage, her relationship with her family, with her home country. It explores translation and lots of the lives of the people that she has translated for. It just felt like there was a lot here and nothing felt cohesive, and I think maybe that was the point as well, because the whole book is called, Misinterpretation, and I think that there was layers here that maybe I wasn't picking up on. So I wouldn't say that this is a bad book, but unfortunately there was a lot of promise and it did not deliver for me. Next up, we have One Boat. This one was fine. This one just felt fine to me. You are following a woman who is returning back to this small Greek town after her father has died, and it's the same place that she went years earlier after her mother had passed away. So she meets back up with many of the people that she met the first time around. There are some small points of interest in this, and a lot of the very long bits of self-reflection that go on I did find a little bit interesting, but so much of it is so few and far between, and by the end of this book I was just also thinking, what was the point of reading that? It's another main character that I did not understand, and I did not get her motivations or how she changed from the beginning of the book to the end. I don't know if this is a story about complicated family dynamics, if it's about identity, if it's about free will, if it's about crime and punishment. There are so many different things going on here, and none of them I think are explored quite deeply enough. So unfortunately, it did not work for me, and this is coming in at number 8 on my ranking. Next up, we have Love Forms by Claire Adam, and I am upset that this one is ranking so low on my list because I had really high hopes for this. I thought that this would be very much my type of book, but unfortunately it wasn't. This is about a woman who lives in the UK, but she grew up in Trinidad, and when she was 16, she traveled to Venezuela, gave birth to a baby girl, and gave the child up in Venezuela. As now an older, divorced woman with 2 kids of her own, she has been trying to find this child that she gave up all those years ago. This book is so slow. It's very much a slice of life story. You're following this woman's life as she's going about her day, and you are slowly learning about how much it means to her to find her daughter and how her interpretation of the events all those years ago have significantly changed. Also how her relationship with her family has changed. But there just was not enough there for me. I didn't find any resolution within this story. Maybe it's because I'm not a mother myself that this didn't hit for me, because it was talking about things in a way that felt like It was trying to say these are universal truths that every mother would feel. And obviously, as I'm not a mother myself, I just don't know if that's accurate. I don't know. This one, I feel like a lot of it just, the main action that happens in this book happens right at the beginning, and then nothing much moves on from that fact. It's very much just one woman's kind of inner monologue as she's thinking about this situation when she was 16. And I don't know, there wasn't enough there for me, and I did not really enjoy it, unfortunately. So that is Love Forms. Next up, at spot number 10 on this list, we have Flesh. This one is one of those books where I can tell this is a good book, I assume. This is written for some people, but it's not for me. It just really rubbed me up the wrong way, and I found myself getting highly irritated with it. And that's not because it was badly written, it was just the style in which it was written was so against what I enjoy reading. In this book, you are following a man, and he has a quite traumatic relationship when he is a young teen with an older woman, and this kind of stays with him for the rest of his life, and you are following him all throughout his life. I found this a really difficult read because I really didn't enjoy this character. He is a very stoic, very passive man where everything in his life seems to just happen to him, and also it's not really a very ordinary life. There are these very extraordinary things that happen to him, but for the nature of this book, because we are cutting so much between different times and you are jumping forward so significantly, you don't actually understand a lot about how he finds himself in these situations. You don't see him take any action during his entire life, and you don't get any sign of self-reflection or emotional involvement in the actions of his own life. It's very, very much a cold book, and I didn't like it. I think that this is probably a good analysis of these types of people who are just very passive and never talk about their feelings and are completely kind of emotionless. But to me, I just couldn't stand this book. And I also just absolutely hated the dialogue. There is so much repetition. Every single thing has to be repeated twice, and then no information is ever transferred. And I feel like if I had to have a conversation with this person in this book, I would not be able to. It would just be absolutely impossible to talk to him. So I could not actually stand physically reading this book because it made me feel so much more annoyed. I ended up having to listen to this as an audiobook because for some reason that annoyed me slightly less. But yeah, this one I'm sure is a great book for somebody. Stylistically and the characters absolutely didn't work for me, which is why it's coming in at number 10 on my list. Next up, we have a book that I don't have very strong feelings about, but it just didn't leave me with any strong impression at all, which is why I'm putting it all the way at number 11, and that is unfortunately The South. This is about a young boy who is moved to the countryside to live on a farm, and this farm was once a very flourishing place but is currently really struggling, and he starts up a romantic involvement with the son of the farm's manager. One thing I would say I appreciate about this book is the fact that the young queer love story in this didn't feel like a lot of the time when you are reading young queer love stories, there is a sense of doom over the narrative, and I did not actually get that with this. It was quite a sweet and relaxing, like, coming of age story that you felt like they were being able to explore romantic feelings in what felt like weirdly quite a safe space. But I just really didn't like the rest of the characters, or even these two main characters themselves as well. It didn't feel like there was much tension in this book pushing it forward, and ultimately I just feel like I read this and it just completely like went one ear and out the other, went from my eyes to my brain, and then I did not form a memory of this book. So yeah, I have actually not that much left to say about The South, but it did not work for me. And that means that finally in our number 12 spot is The Rest of Our Lives. I just really did not like this one. And again, I feel similarly in the way that I feel about Flesh, in the fact that the main reason I didn't like this is because I really didn't like the main character in this story. But at least with Flesh, you understand that the author is doing something stylistically, and it felt more like a book where I was like, I can see why it was nominated maybe for the Booker Prize. This one, what? I have no clue about why this was nominated. This book, other than being readable, it was like a quick read for me, but it also left almost no impression on me as well, other than hatred, frankly, for the character depicted within the pages. This is about a man who basically, his wife had an affair, a short affair of 3 months, 14 years ago, and he decides when his youngest goes to university or college that he will leave his wife. And then he drops his daughter off at university and he kind of just keeps on driving. Once again, this is someone who has almost no self-reflection within their own mind, and you are spending a lot of time in his own mind. And also, because this is a road trip style novel, you're being introduced to characters a lot for a chapter or like a few pages, and then he leaves them behind and you move on and you never hear from them again. But you get a very, very long description about, usually it's to do with, you know, their academic achievements or something about their sporting achievements, or about how much money they make, or kind of where they are in society. He's a very judgmental character and also obviously thinks so much of himself as well. Also in this book, there's just some questionable choices made about, like, from the author about this character, about various different things that I was thinking, am I supposed to like this person? Because he sounds absolutely awful. He's described as an angry white man by his daughter, who he thinks is being too woke about things and PC. And I was expecting him to go on some kind of emotional journey throughout this book, and he doesn't. And I did not enjoy the way this book ended, really, at all. It's kind of a thing that happens in books sometimes, and I won't spoil it for you just in case, but basically when something does happen to a character like this, and then it prompts them to think differently about their lives and about how judgmental that they have been. But I don't like that anyway when it's done well, and it wasn't even done well in this book. I think that there was no kind of ending where I thought, oh, this man has like changed and learnt about anything, because you don't get any of his self-reflecting thoughts about his own life and how he treats people. You're only getting his judgments on literally everyone around him, and he judges everybody really, really poorly as well, and he's got a very big ego. And yeah, basically I really didn't like this one. I don't know if this is just maybe specifically made for middle-aged men going through a life crisis, but that's not me, and yeah, it did not work for me. So that's the one on the end of this list. So that is my ranking of the books I've read for the Booker Prize longlist, all 12 of the ones that I have read. Misa's come to say hello. Say hi to the camera, Misi. And to sit on my lap. Hold on. She can keep me company while I tell you what my shortlist is, which you probably know if you've obviously just watched my entire ranking. My personal shortlist is the top 6 books from that ranking. So number 1, we have Endling. Number 2, we have Universality. Then we have Audition. And then we have Sea Scraper. Then we have The Land in Midwinter. And then finally, just scraping in, we have Flashlight. And this one is the one that I'm not as sure about. It's kind of getting in as a default because it's in position number 6. But the other ones I do really enjoy. But this is just my own personal shortlist. Let me now make my final predictions for what I think is actually going to be on the shortlist. And you're going to know if I'm right earlier than I do, because I'm going to be stuck on a flight. So I have to back my 2 favourites and hope that they are going to be on the shortlist. And I do think that they actually have not been rated very well at all on like Goodreads and things like that. But I have to back that these 2 will make it onto the shortlist. Otherwise, I do not agree with what's going on with the Booker Prize this year. So I'm putting those 2 up at the top. The other one I think actually has been really well received, and I also would like to see it on the shortlist, is Sea Scraper. I think this one does a very different thing to the other 2 that I've got, and I think it will appeal to a wide group of people. I also do want to put on The Land in Winter. I think this is another historical fiction. I think it's slow and it's poetic and it's got beautiful writing, and I can see this one maybe making it onto the shortlist. And then the final 2, I actually think that Flesh will maybe make it on the shortlist. I think out of the books on this list that are about male melancholy or male sadness or loneliness or having a crisis if you're a man, I think out of those ones that are on this list, this one I could see making the actual shortlist. So that's the one that I'm predicting. And then finally, a rogue shout, but I think that the final book that I've not actually read, which is The Loneliness of Sanya and Sunny, is going to make it onto the shortlist, because I don't understand why they didn't just bring forward the publication date and have this out while all the Booker Prize longlist stuff was happening, unless they were pretty sure it was going to make it onto the shortlist. I don't know, that's just me predicting, but I think that this one is going to make it onto the shortlist and then have people actually buy it when it comes out. So yeah, that's going to be my actual final predictions of the 6 books that will be announced on Tuesday that make it to the shortlist. But I would love to know your thoughts on my ranking. If you have read a few of these books, I would love for you to do your own ranking below. And something that also might be fun is if you do your own ranking and also your predictions as well, because that's always fun as well. And I think my predictions are going to be more likely to make it than my personal ranking. Because I have to say, I don't have, I have unpopular opinions sometimes. So overall, this has been a very fun experience reading the entire long list, but it has been a challenge. It's definitely been challenging. I think I started off really strong. I read a lot of my favorites early on, and then since then it was quite difficult to keep going. But I'm really glad that I've done it, and I'm really happy if you've done it along with me. I've been really enjoying all of your comments as well. It's been amazing, and it's been amazing to chat to you over on Patreon as well about the Booker longlist. I would like to say thank you so much to my Patreons. You are the absolute best. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for supporting me and supporting this channel. If you are interested in joining the Patreon, then I have an exciting video coming out at the end of this month that you might want to subscribe for, and there is a link always in the description as well. But I'm really glad that I finished the long list before the shortlist has come out, and I'm not gonna lie, so relieved that this challenge is over. It's been really fun and I have been really excited, but oh my god, I want my reading choices back. I want to be able to make my own TBRs again and just pick up whatever I fancy, because it has been a challenge. Please remember to leave a comment below, because I absolutely love reading them and seeing if you think my predictions are going to be right as well, and also just what your predictions are. I just love talking about all of this stuff, so please let me know in the comments below. But other than that, I think that is everything from me today, so thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye!